Good evening. This is Professor Asif Iqbal. So in this session we are going to discuss about the task scheduling in module 5. So here task scheduling means how to schedule the task for executions. See here we already discussed that the whole program is divided into number of tasks. Whole target is divided into number of tasks. Those tasks is to be executed concurrently, right? But we need a scheduler to schedule this task in a order, right? Or to decide which task to be executed at what point of a time. So here the multitasking involves the execution of switching among the different tasks. So you need to switch the execution of one task to another task. For that we require a scheduling. So the mechanism in place to share the CPU among the different tasks and to decide which process or a task is to be executed at a given point of time is called a scheduling, right? To determine which task process is to be executed at a given point of time is known as a scheduling, right? So here to do this we require a scheduler. Scheduler is an actually algorithm where all the policies of scheduling is to be implemented, right? Okay, so here task scheduling is actually classified into two groups, into two categories. One is non-preemptive scheduling, another is preemptive scheduling. So in the non-preemptive scheduling, the currently executing task process is allowed to be run until it terminates, or it may be enter into the wait state for waiting IO devices or system resources. See here it is continuously running till it terminates, or if it requires IO devices, it should be pushed into a waiting state, right? Okay, so whereas preemptive scheduling, here the currently executing task process is to be preempted in the sense stop temporarily and ask another task which is in a ready queue to be executed. It means that it stop the currently executing task. Preempted scheduling is stop currently executing task and forcefully stop executing task and allow another task which is in a queue for execution, ready queue, which is in ready queue in the sense here whenever the execution of a task and process is going on, right? So those tasks and process is when they are ready for execution, those process or task is put into the ready queue. Then the scheduler goes into the ready queue and pick a task for execution. Which task to be executed in a ready queue is is left to the scheduler to decide, right, based on policies we used in the scheduler, right? So here many information given about the task scheduling, but our important focus is on preemptive scheduling only, because you have only this in your syllabus, that is preemptive scheduling. Let's see what is the preemptive scheduling in detail here. In preemptive scheduling, the scheduler can be preempt. So we told that it is forcefully stop and allows the another task to be executed which is in ready queue, right? When to preempt a task, which task is to be picked up from the ready queue for the execution after preempted, the current task is purely dependent on the algorithm. It is purely dependent on the scheduling algorithm, right? Hence the task which is to be preempted by the scheduler is to be moved into the ready queue. So when it is forcefully preempted, right, stop its execution, it will go to the ready queue. Again it will pick when it turns when the scheduler pick for running, right. This act of moving running process task in a ready queue by the scheduler without process requesting is known as preemption. This we call a preemption, right. Here the preemptive scheduling can be implemented in a different approach. Here time based preemption and priority based preemption. Based on this, there is various types of preemptive scheduling is adopted here. So first one is preemptive short job first, or we also called it is shortest remaining time scheduling. It is the SJF scheduling or SRT scheduling. So second one is round robin scheduling. Third one is priority based scheduling. Okay, so in that first one we'll see preemptive shortest job first, or we also called it is SRT, that is shortest remaining time scheduling, right. You see in this type of scheduling, the SGF, in this type of scheduling, the process with shortest estimated run time is scheduled first, followed by next shortest process and so on. So here those process is ready for execution is all kept into the queue, and here the scheduler, right, scheduler algorithm check and verify which process is having a run time is the shortest. So those which process is having a runtime shortest is to be allowed for execution, right. So each time when new process is enter into a queue, right, so each time when new process is enter into the queue, right, it will check whether that new process is having a less time as compared to the current process remaining time of execution. It will compare the new process run time which is entered into the queue with a current execution processes remaining time. If the current process execution remaining time is greater than the new task or new process run time, then the current execution task is to be preempted and allows the new entered task which is having shortest time for execution. So clearly, if you want to understand clearly, let's we see the example of this type of preemption. So let's we see here example. Assume that there are three tasks are there in a ready queue P1, P2, P3 with estimated time 10, 5, 7 runtime, estimated runtime 10, 5, 7 milliseconds, means it requires for execution of process P1 for 10 second, process P2 5 millisecond, process P1 10 millisecond, process P2 5 millisecond, process P3 7 millisecond, right. A new while executing this processes, a new process is entered into a queue, ready queue, which is having its completion time, run time is a 2 millisecond, right. So here we assume that only CPU is allocated, only CPU is involved to execute this process. We are not make it complex here, including the IO operation also, right. Then so using this we calculate what is the total waiting time for each process in a queue, and what is the average waiting time for all the processes, and then we have to calculate the turnaround time, means what is the turnaround time required, means what is the turnaround time is the time required for waiting in a queue plus its execution time, right, and the average average turnaround time required for all the processes. Right, let's we see this example. So clearly you can clearly understand by seeing this figure here. So in this figure, first you see here initially at 0 millisecond when execution of the processes is start, right? So in the queue there are three processes, process P1, P2 and P3. P1 require 10 millisecond, P2 require 5 millisecond, P3 require 7 millisecond. If you see here clearly, so the scheduler what it will do, it will verify whose time is very less. The time for P2 here is very less, so therefore scheduler schedule P2 for execution here. The P2 start execution, scheduler use a CPU to the P2 to process, right? P2 start its process here, right? So after 2 millisecond what happened, the P4 is entered. The P4, one more process P4 is enter into the queue. Then once again the scheduler will verify here whose time is less here. You see P2 is already executed for 2 millisecond and 3 millisecond execution is remain for the P2 at a 2 millisecond. After 2 millisecond, so it will verify the whose time is less here. You see the P4, see currently executing is P2 here. P2 remaining time is 3 millisecond. It will compare with the newly entered P4 process which is having execution time is 2 millisecond. So here 3 millisecond is more than the 2 millisecond. So therefore scheduler will allow P4 to execute and preempted P2, means preempted stop execution of P2, right? And put a P2 back into the queue, right? And take P4 for execution. Allow the CPU to execute P4, right? So after 4 millisecond, you see after 4 millisecond, so P4 is completely executed, right? P4 is completely executed, hence P4 is completed here. Then once again scheduler see the processes which is in queue. P4 is executed, so therefore there is no P4 in the queue, right? And process P1, P2, P3 are in a queue. So once again scheduler will see here whose time is less time. Here P2 is 3 millisecond, which is a less time, so therefore P2 is scheduled for process, right? So after 7 millisecond, after 4 millisecond, then the P2 require execution for 3 millisecond. After 3 millisecond means at 7 millisecond, right? P2 is completely executed, so therefore P2 is completed. So P2 is pull from the queue and pull from the running state, right? So here after that once again the scheduler see the queue will having only two processes P1 and P3. In that P3 is shortest one, hence scheduler allocated P3 for execution, means P3 is scheduled and P2 is completed here, right? So after 7 millisecond, that is at 14 millisecond, 7 plus 7, because P3 requires 7 millisecond, at 14 millisecond, right? P3 is also completed. Then P1 is scheduled, right? So further P1 is completed after 10 millisecond from the 14 millisecond, means at 24 millisecond P1 is also get completed, right? That is shown in here execution sequence. Here you can see from 0 to 2 millisecond first P2 is executed, but at 2 millisecond P2 is preempted, so P4 is allocated for execution, hence P4 executed from 2 to 4. Then at 4 millisecond P4 is completed. Again P2 is continue its execution from it's to where it is stop at 2 millisecond. From 4 millisecond to 7 millisecond P2 is executed, means remaining 3 millisecond of its execution is completed here. Right, at 7 millisecond P3 is executed. At 14 millisecond it is completed. From 14 to 24 millisecond P1 is executed. Right, so this we calculated here waiting time. You see, waiting time for the P2 is first, initially there is no waiting time for the P2. Means soon after execution start, P2 is allocated and start execution, so therefore 0 millisecond. But here P2 is wait from here to here in a queue, so that P4 is to be executed. 4 minus 2 will be the 2 millisecond waiting here. So total waiting time for P2 is 2 millisecond. Right, then P4 is waiting. Here you can see P4 is waiting. No waiting for the P4, means as soon as P4 is enter into the queue it is start its execution, so therefore 0 millisecond. Then P3 is waiting from 0 millisecond to 7 millisecond, so total P3 is waiting before its execution start, total 7 millisecond. And P1 is waiting from 0 millisecond to 14 millisecond in a queue before its execution start, hence it is 14 millisecond is waiting time. So therefore P2 is 2 millisecond waiting time, P4 is 0, P3 is 7, and P1 is 14 milliseconds. So total average waiting time is the formula waiting time for all processes, which is 2 plus 0 plus 7 plus 14, which is given here. Right, divided by number of process is 4 here, that is 23 divided by 4, 5.75 millisecond is a what average waiting time. So the further if you see turnaround time, so to turnaround time is the sum of waiting time in a queue, means the waiting time in a queue plus execution time it requires. Right, here P2 is waiting time is 2, P4 waiting time is 0, this P3 is in queue 7 millisecond, P1 is in queue 14 milliseconds. Right, P2 executed for require 5 millisecond. Right, P4 execution time require 2 millisecond, P3 is 7 millisecond, P1 is 10 millisecond, hence the total turnaround time for P2 is 7 millisecond. TAT for P4 is 2 millisecond, TAT for P3 is 14 millisecond, TAT for P1 is 24 millisecond. Hence the TAT for all the processes is sum of 7 plus 2 plus 14 plus 24, which is 47, divided by 4 will give you 11.75 millisecond. Right, so we'll continue this session, continue this topic in a next session with a round robin scheduling. Till then, take care, bye.